He thought he found love. Instead, he lost everything. This is the pig butchering scam. March 2025. An Arizona son contacts local news with a story that sounds impossible.
These people will take every lost penny he has. And then what?
His father, a respected man in his community, has been sending money to someone he's never met. Someone who claims to love him. Someone who doesn't exist. The son tried everything to convince his father he was being scammed.
My brother wrote to him, kind of laid out, these are the things that are happening when you're getting scammed. Please understand, we're trying to help you.
But love makes people do irrational things. And when that love is carefully engineered by professionals, even intelligent people become willing victims. It started innocently enough. A wrong number text. Maybe a dating app match. The kind of digital interaction that happens millions of times daily across America. Long time no see. How are you recently? Simple words that would eventually cost this Arizona father everything he'd saved for retirement. According to Aaron West, former deputy district attorney in Santa Clara County, victims are damaged in a way no one has seen them.
Pig butchering victims are really damaged in a way that we have not seen before.
She further explains the psychology behind this.
We can't keep watching the same thing happen over and over, and what we're seeing is something different than we've ever seen, and something pretty dramatically terrible.
Pig butchering. The name comes from Chinese criminal slang for fattening livestock before slaughter. In this twisted economy, human emotions are the feed, and your bank account is the slaughterhouse. A groundbreaking study by University of Texas finance professor John Griffin tracked crypto addresses from over 4,000 victims using blockchain analysis. These criminal networks moved more than $75 billion to crypto exchanges in just 4 years, from January 2020 to February 2024. These are large criminal organized networks, and they're operating largely unscathed, Griffin told Bloomberg. In 2024 alone, pig butchering revenue increased 40% year over year, while the number of victims jumped 210%. The FBI has received thousands of reports about pig butchering scams, with Americans alone reporting $4.6 billion in losses during 2023. But those are just the cases people were brave enough to report. Experts estimate the real figure is 3 to 5 times higher, because shame keeps most victims silent. PBS NewsHour's investigation revealed the precise methodology these operations use, based on testimony from former prosecutor Aaron West, who has handled hundreds of these cases. The process follows a script refined through analyzing millions of successful manipulations. Contact phase. They receive what appears to be a wrong number text that has gotten increasingly clever. Anything to get your attention long enough to respond so they can introduce an attractive persona, usually a young Asian woman named Jessica, Emma, or Sarah. Grooming phase. Over the next 90 days, Jessica sells a dream of being with her and her fancy elevated lifestyle. She becomes a trusted confidant, filling emotional voids with precisely the kind of attention and understanding victims crave. She remembers personal details, asks about your day, shares fabricated struggles that mirror your own experiences. Lifestyle demonstration. She shares photos of expensive restaurants, business success, luxury travel, all stolen from real people's social media accounts. But victims don't know they're seeing recycled content from strangers. They see proof that this sophisticated woman has achieved the kind of success they want for themselves. Investment introduction. The transition to money is really subtle. Jessica mentions her success in cryptocurrency trading, sharing screenshots of massive profits. She offers to teach you her methods because she cares about your financial future. The platform is always MetaTrader, which scammers recommend by pointing out it's available in Apple's App Store, so it must be legitimate. Extraction phase. Small initial investments show fake profits to build confidence. Victims watch their accounts grow exponentially on fraudulent dashboards. They believe they're getting rich and will end up with the girl, only to discover it was all a facade when they try to withdraw funds. The vanish. Withdrawal requests are denied due to market conditions or taxation issues. Jessica stops responding. Her social media disappears. The trading platform goes offline, and the victim is left staring at empty bank accounts, wondering how someone they love could have been plotting against them since the very first message. The Arizona case that made headlines in March 2025 follows the exact pattern Aaron West described. A father, living alone after decades of marriage, received what seemed like an innocent wrong number text. Instead of ignoring it, he responded with typical Midwestern politeness. The woman on the other end seemed embarrassed about the mistake, but grateful for his kindness. She was traveling for business, she explained. Successful in finance, recently relocated to the West Coast. Their conversation started as friendly banter, but evolved into something deeper. His son noticed the changes first. His father was constantly texting, secretive about his phone, suddenly interested in cryptocurrency markets. When questioned about meeting this woman in person, his father grew defensive. The financial extraction followed the standard pattern. First, modest investments that showed immediate profits. Then larger amounts as confidence grew. The woman shared his excitement about the returns, celebrating each successful trade. She seemed as invested in his financial success as he was. By the time the son discovered the full extent of the financial damage, tens of thousands of dollars had already vanished into cryptocurrency wallets controlled by international criminal networks. The confrontation was devastating. A son watching his father choose a digital phantom over family warnings.
I wish we could get FaceTime with an authority and go, how do we intercept it?
Like thousands of other victims, the Arizona father learned that the woman he'd grown to love was actually multiple people working in shifts from a criminal compound 7,000 miles away. The photos, the personality, the shared experiences, all fabricated by professionals who had never seen his face. The story gets even darker from here. The people manipulating the Arizona father weren't willing criminals. They were slaves. Last year, the United Nations estimated that more than 200,000 people were forced to work in scam centers in Cambodia and Myanmar alone. The United States Institute of Peace estimates that the number has grown to 300,000, an entire city of forced laborers whose job is destroying other people's lives. The workers are recruited through authentic-looking websites offering high-paying tech jobs in Southeast Asia. When they arrive, their passports are seized. They're loaded onto buses and transported to compounds surrounded by armed guards. They are locked down and forced to run romantic scams 17 hours a day. The criminal infrastructure supporting these operations has become incredibly sophisticated. Chainalysis identified a platform called Huiwan Guarantee that has processed $70 billion in cryptocurrency transactions since 2021, serving as a one-stop shop for scam technology and money laundering services. Scammers can purchase AI-powered face-changing services for $200, stolen personal data lists targeting quick-kill victims, and mass text messaging capabilities to reach millions of potential targets simultaneously. In 2024, AI service vendors on this platform saw their revenue grow by 1,900%. This isn't random crime now. This is a $3 trillion industry that generates more revenue than the oil trade, powered by modern slavery, and designed to systematically drain wealth from victims while traumatizing both sides of the screen. The pandemic created perfect hunting conditions for these predators. Social isolation made digital relationships feel normal. Cryptocurrency success stories convinced people that extraordinary profits were achievable. Dating apps trained us to form emotional attachments with people we'd never met. There's a psychological profile that emerges: recently divorced or widowed, financially stable but worried about the future, active online but lacking strong local connections. The manipulation exploits basic human biochemistry. When someone shows genuine interest in our lives, remembers personal details, and shares our struggles, our brains release oxytocin and dopamine, the same chemicals involved in addiction and pair bonding. Scammers weaponize neurochemistry against us. Aaron West explains the vulnerability pattern.
All of the really psychological techniques are used to isolate that victim and to reframe that victim's way of thinking into, this is the only person that I can trust.
Post-pandemic inflation made people anxious about their futures. Traditional investment returns seemed inadequate for growing expenses. When Jessica offered access to exclusive trading opportunities that could multiply retirement savings, she wasn't just selling an investment. She was selling financial security in an uncertain world. These scams work because they exploit hope itself. In an economy where many people feel left behind, the promise of insider knowledge and guaranteed profits appeals to our deepest desires for financial freedom. The victims aren't greedy. Oh no. They're desperate for the American dream to still be attainable. August 2024, Elkhart, Kansas. Population 1,888. The Heartland Tri-State Bank suddenly closes its doors forever. Federal regulators seize the institution. Decades of community trust vanish overnight because one man fell for a scam. That man was Shan Haynes, 53-year-old CEO of the bank. Between May and July 2023, Haynes executed 11 unauthorized wire transfers, sending $47.1 million of his customers' money to cryptocurrency wallets controlled by scammers who had convinced him he was making legitimate investments. Judge John Brooms sentenced Haynes to 293 months in prison, 24 years, the longest federal white-collar sentence in Kansas history. During the sentence hearing, "I call his actions pure evil," said Brian Mitchell, who for years was Haynes' next-door neighbor. But Haynes wasn't evil. He was a victim who became a perpetrator, a distinction that makes these cases uniquely tragic. The bank's customers got their deposits back through federal insurance, but 30 local shareholders, teachers, farmers, retirees who had invested in their community bank lost everything. The FBI managed to recover $8 million for these victims, but the psychological damage was irreversible. AARP's Fraud Watch network fields 3 to 4 crypto ATM scam reports daily, with losses typically in the tens of thousands of dollars or more. Most victims never report these crimes. The shame of being manipulated by someone who never existed is just overwhelming and too much. But their silence enables the criminals to move on to the next target, armed with refined techniques and victim profiles that work. The FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center fielded over 15,000 scam complaints from people over 60 in 2023 alone, with over 2,000 involving cryptocurrency ATMs. Their advice is based on analyzing thousands of actual cases and recovering hundreds of millions in stolen funds. Red flag number 1. They ask you to move the conversation from the original platform to WhatsApp or Telegram. West explains this tactic. That is to get them out of the prying eyes of the platforms who are looking for them. Legitimate people don't need to hide from anti-fraud systems. Red flag number 2. They refuse video calls or in-person meetings despite claiming deep emotional connections. If someone says they love you but won't show their face in real time, you're talking to someone managing multiple fake identities simultaneously. Red flag number 3. The uncle factor. West notes that scammers always hand off investment advice to yet another person who is more of an expert in the crypto business. It's always an uncle, mentor, or business partner who has the special knowledge. This delegation creates psychological distance from the romantic relationship while maintaining the financial manipulation. This era is not the time to be making new friends on social media because there are way too many bad actors out there trying to take advantage of you. If someone you don't recognize reaches out electronically, treat them as potential fraud until proven otherwise. Most importantly, report suspected fraud immediately. Time is critical, as we all know that crypto transactions are irreversible, but quick action can sometimes freeze accounts before funds are transferred to unreachable exchanges. Shan Haynes thought he was a smart investor making smart financial decisions. He was actually the single largest victim in a global money laundering network that the Department of Justice later seized $225 million from. A man trusted to safeguard his community's financial future became the instrument of its destruction. The Arizona Sun, who contacted news outlets in March 2025, speaks for millions of family members watching helplessly as loved ones fall for sophisticated emotional manipulation. The criminal infrastructure continues expanding. Chainalysis data shows AI services for scammers grew 1,900% in 2024. The number of pig butchering deposits increased 210%, while average amounts decreased, suggesting scammers are targeting more victims more quickly, rather than focusing on massive individual scores. Both sides of these conversations are victims. The 300,000 people held in forced labor compounds include educated professionals who thought they were taking legitimate tech jobs. They're forced to destroy other people's lives to survive, creating trauma that extends far beyond stolen money. The good news is that blockchain transactions are traceable. Operation Spincaster, led by Chainalysis, identified and traced thousands of compromised wallets totaling over $112 million in losses. Quick reporting and sophisticated blockchain analysis can sometimes recover funds before they disappear into untraceable exchanges. Knowledge is the only protection against industrial-scale emotional manipulation. Share this story. Protect someone you care about. Because right now, another Jessica is crafting the perfect wrong number message. And the next victim might be someone you know. The scammers are counting on our silence and shame. Don't give them what they want.